Star Fox, a name so legendary that even people who have never touched the games can still recognize Fox McCloud. It's quite possible that the name alone put more butts in seats in the movie theaters than any other marketing ever could, all thanks to the passionate fans and loving community. So you can imagine my surprise and glee from the mention that a new Star Fox game was on its way. After decades of waiting, when all hope seemed lost, Star Fox returned with the promise of a new chapter to one of Nintendo's most beloved franchises. And somehow, Nintendo found a way to make me less excited for the future of Star Fox than I was before the announcement. Because instead of giving us the future of Star Fox, they gave us Star Fox 64. Again. Sorry, that's again. And why did they go for the puppet look? Let's talk about the state of the Star Fox series. First things first, let's talk about the surface level topic, the thing everybody noticed the second the trailer began. The art direction. Star Fox looks like a real fox. To be more accurate, he looks like a Muppet trying to get on the set of Mufasa after watching Fantastic Mr. Fox, which was a great movie by the way, but maybe not where I would have steered the Star Fox franchise? Look, I'm not saying that going for a realistic take was an inherently bad idea, though I would argue this direction kinda misses the point. Star Fox was anime inspired, a cartoon. These character designs are so iconic because animalistic humans have a fun, appealing quality. Features can be exaggerated in ways you really can't accomplish with human characters, and it lends itself well to quick character introductions. Just looking at these characters and their silhouettes, you can probably tell a lot about them just by their appearance. The issue is that if you try to go all out on making them look real, you're constantly at odds with the uncanny valley, battling an uphill battle between terrifying your audience and just trying to make it look convincing. It's sort of the same issue I have with the live-action Lion King. I just feel like you lose a lot of the power of your initial designs when you try to make them convincing, because these designs are so iconic specifically because they suspend our disbelief. We can't just enjoy some sassy bluebird calling us Einstein. What does Star Fox Einstein look like? Questions for later. Well, I think it could have been interesting, and maybe I'd get used to these designs if I stared at them long enough and they stared back at me, piercing my soul. I just don't think it was worth the effort. Frankly, I don't want to think about going to work tomorrow and turning around to see our hyper-realistic Fox McCloud sipping coffee with Slippy Toad while they're carrying briefcases and filing my taxes. I like to suspend my disbelief. Star Fox Assault was the first game I played growing up, attempting to move the series and making the characters more realistic, but they maintained their core shape language, which I found to be a good way to move forward. That being said, the designs are really just a symptom of a much bigger problem with the Star Fox franchise as a whole, and quite possibly at the root of Nintendo itself. Before I get into that, let's talk about what I did like. Star Fox is known for its core gameplay loop, which is really what sold the game for many people. The cinematic battle sets of Fox McCloud and his R-Wing blasting enemies with charged shots or just a barrage of gunfire. It's really immersive. Saving up your bombs for bosses, aiming at weak points, and conserving your resources was always really fun. So I should give credit where it's due. This game seems to carry that legacy quite well with its new mechanics such as the submarine and its online matchmaking. Star Fox's core gameplay lends itself well to multiplayer, as shown with Star Fox Assault and Star Fox Command. Now, in the modern age, I think it's a great evolution to take this series to an online setting. Personally though, I don't think I'd ever want to play as Andrew Oinkeny. As far as features and gameplay, this game looks like it hits all the checkboxes, giving players quite possibly the most sound Star Fox experience we've had yet. If it weren't for this next topic, I'd say I'd actually be willing to play the game, visuals and all. The issue is that this is the same game we've played before, for the 5th time. See, Star Fox has a bit of an issue with moving on. The original game was remade, and deservedly so. On the SNES, it's pretty clear that the story was extremely ambitious and could not be told correctly with limited technology. The remastered version on the Nintendo 64 is a fully realized vision of what the game could have been, and it's phenomenal with personal stakes and cosmic level threats. And sure, the 64 era was a long time ago, so I don't blame them for wanting to polish the game for modern audiences. But now that they've done that over and over, I think that reveals a bigger issue with the franchise. Just imagine for a moment executives at Nintendo being like, "Sir, I believe that people are still interested in the Star Fox series and we should capitalize on it." "Excellent idea, Employee of the Month. What did you have in mind?" "I think we should remake Star Fox 64. "Print it." The problem isn't even that it's a remake. Remakes can be pretty good. Resident Evil did it, Final Fantasy did it, Metroid did it. The problem is, Star Fox keeps remaking the same game. I can again give some credit here. The prologue segment we saw was pretty cool. I actually like the idea of seeing more of James McCloud. That's new, that's interesting, That's the kind of thing I want more of, but I kind of wish we saw less of it, you know? Leave new stuff for us to experience when we get the game? I would have preferred to see Pigma's betrayal after the game was released, not during its first trailer. I mean, it's definitely new, but it's really more putting a bandage on a gaping hole. Now we come to my conclusion. I've put a lot of thought into this, and I've developed an unfortunate theory. Why can't Star Fox move on? Why do they remake the same game over and over? Are they out of ideas? How can they be out of ideas? They haven't even tried yet. Well, there is one explanation. Star Fox has tried before. Star Fox 2 was a direct sequel to the original game, but we didn't get that game until 2017 because Nintendo shelved the project. When the GameCube came out, we got Star Fox Adventures, a strange detour from the franchise that put us on Dinosaur Planet and had us use a staff to fight and solve puzzles. It was probably so different because it was just another game with Fox's face plastered on it. Star Fox Assault was a return to form, and it's the game I grew up on. It wasn't perfect by any means, but as a kid I was holding my breath at every cutscene, and I loved this game a lot. And well, the reason I mention this is that I think that's where the problem arises. I don't think Nintendo hates Star Fox. I think they still see it as one of their biggest franchises. But I don't think Nintendo trusts Star Fox anymore. And it hasn't trusted Star Fox for a long time. Star Fox Adventure received a lot of criticism, Star Fox Assault actually seemingly sold very poorly, and Star Fox Command, well, let's just say it was pretty divisive. Instead of learning from their mistakes, however, I think Nintendo just realized that Star Fox does best when it sticks to what made it big in the first place. Why wouldn't they just give us the same story? The one story that no one has any complaints about. Nintendo's a company, and big companies don't like to take risks. And I get it. Games this big aren't cheap. Taking those risks could mean millions down the drain, and to stay appealing, they have to play it safe. Call me old-fashioned, but I think that's how somebody loses their identity. Sure, it works pretty well for the man in red overalls, but is that the legacy of Star Fox? Even Mario goes on different adventures, even if they all look the same, but Star Fox? I think he's stuck. If Star Fox can't make a new game, it'll never evolve, and frankly, it'll stop feeling alive. I hope I'm wrong about my theory, but to me, it looks like our favorite Space Fox might be in a little pickle. And I hate to say it, I really do, but I don't think I'll be getting this game. The gameplay looks good, the online matchmaking is enticing, but I just can't see myself paying full price for a game I've already played. Growing up with Star Fox Assault, what I loved wasn't that Star Fox stayed the same. It was that every game felt like we were exploring a new corner of this weird galaxy. I say all this because I love the franchise. The weekends that came by, staying up late with my brother to talk about the characters and their stories. A part of me still believes in Star Fox, and I hope one day Nintendo will too. Or maybe a part of me has moved on, and Star Fox hasn't.